What's up guys? So for today's video, we're going to be doing a special recap video on my recent trip to India. It's going to have lots of information. What are my first impressions? What are some recommendations I have for you guys? So stay tuned and let's get straight into it. So first, where are the entry requirements to get into India? It wasn't too hard, it was pretty simple. You had to do a PCR test and you had to get an online e-visa. 30 days costs about $125. You fill it out online on the Indian government website. Then you receive an email with your e-visa, very simple. And you also have to do a health declaration form where you fill a Google form and then you send your PCR test and then you get approved for travel. So that's it. It was very simple, and you also have to have a blank page in your passport to get stamped in. And overall, to entry into the country, pretty easy. Next, what is the geography of India? So it would be considered in the South Asia region, and some of its neighboring countries in South Asia can be considered Afghanistan, Pakistan, Bhutan, Nepal, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, and the Maldives Islands. What are some of the languages spoken in India? The main language that they speak is Hindi, but they also do speak a lot of English. So the language barrier for an English speaker was fairly easy compared to other countries where not that many people speak English. So why did I choose India? My previous countries traveled to are Colombia and Brazil, and my motivation for traveling there was I was on a flight from Rio, an overnight Rio to Miami, and I was watching The Bourne Supremacy, and the movie opened up when Matt Damon was in this off the grid city, and I was like, where is that? And I thought it was India, and I looked and it was Goa, India, and I've always wanted to go to India for a very long time, and right then and there I thought, you know what, I need to go to India. So that's kind of what sparked it. And also I do want to hit the 7 wonders of the world right now. And the Taj Mahal happens to be in India, one of the 7 wonders of the world. So those are my reasons for picking India. So what city did I choose to go to? I chose to go to Delhi, India. And there are some other cities in India that you may want to choose, such as Mumbai, Goa, I can't think of the other ones, but I chose Delhi because that seemed to be, I think that's the capital, a lot of people, and I just wanted to get a really authentic feel for India. Also, I chose Delhi because it's only 3 hours from Agra, the city of Agra, and that's where the Taj Mahal is. And I really wanted to go to the Taj Mahal on this trip. So if you're flying in from out of the country, the easiest city to travel to Agra from is Delhi. What are some of my first impressions when I first arrived in India? Well, it was really hot in Delhi. Really hot. June, Delhi, super hot. It's their summertime, blazing hot. Tons of people, lots of people everywhere. Just tons of people everywhere, walking everywhere. It doesn't matter what street. There's energy, there's noise, there's beeping horns. There's just a lot of action, a lot of movement. And another interesting thing I noticed is that I didn't see too many female girls on the streets alone. Seemed to be just mostly men outside. I didn't see too many women. I think just part of their culture. But those were some of my first impressions of things that I saw right off the bat. What parts of India did I stay in, and where do I recommend to stay if you decide to go? Well, I chose to stay in a part of the city called Carol Bagh. And it's kind of in the city, a lot of marketplaces, a lot of street markets, and I wanted to get a really authentic feel for Delhi. So I chose Carol Bagh. I stayed at Hotel Surya International, and it was a really cool stay. It was a really cool hotel, very authentic. A lot of Indian travelers, other people within India were staying there. Very friendly staff, and it's a really cool spot. You go outside and it's right next to all the street markets. I stayed there for about 3 days, and then I backtracked to Aero City, right by the airport, and there it's a little bit more comfortable. There's a little bit more luxury, a little bit higher quality of food. And I stayed at the Roseate House in Aero City, An amazing hotel, 5-star hotel, amazing experience, probably one of the best hotels I've ever stayed at. So personally, for your first time there, I would recommend the Rose Yacht House to stay at. An amazing spot, such a good experience. That was so cool. So that's where I would recommend to stay. It's a luxury hotel, but it's in India, and the prices aren't that much compared to the other parts of the world. And the quality of service, the hospitality, the friendliness of everyone working there, the quality of food, out of this world. And it's conveniently located in Aero City, right next to the airport. You gotta check out Aero City. And if you don't wanna do the Rose Yacht House, I recommend maybe checking out another budget hotel within Aero City that might be a little bit cheaper. And it's a really cool area. Lots of restaurants, lots of places to kind of walk around there, and it's a really cool vibe. So now, some things to watch out for in India and in Delhi. Beware, there's a lot of scams. People are going to be trying to take advantage of you constantly. They're going to be trying to extract money out of you. They're going to be trying to tell you these tales and things like that, and these elaborate scams. And a lot of the people are very clever, so you gotta watch out. One of the most common ones is the taxi driver scam, where the taxi driver on the way to your hotel, whether it's from the airport or wherever you're going, he'll make a pit stop at like a travel center or a tourist center, and that they claim it's a government building, and he might be lost and he has to get directions. And then they'll try to convince you that, hey, the roads are closed today, or your hotel happens to be closed, or it's blocked off, but it's okay because we have another hotel for you that we recommend, and it's a better price and everything. And they'll try to convince you to switch hotels. So that is a complete scam. Don't fall for it. Just have them take you straight to your hotel. And my taxi driver actually did that on the way home, or on the way to the airport. When I first arrived, I didn't have phone service, so I couldn't call an Uber, and so I got a prepaid, an official taxi from the airport. And on the way home, he just stopped at a government tourist center, and they tried to tell me that my hotel was closed, they couldn't get there, and they wanted to get me to stay at a different one, probably because they get some kind of a percentage or a cut of that fee. And I said, no, just take me to my hotel. So I had read about that one, so I was partially aware of it. Super common. Don't listen to them. Just have them take you straight to your hotel, and it's avoidable by just taking an Uber. Some other scams, if they ever tell you, don't worry, it's a government building, it's a government center, it's an information center, a store where they want to sell you things, or a really cool store, they got to take you to this special store that targets foreigners. Don't go. They'll be very aggressive. Any type of tours or trips, a tourism center that's an official from the government tours, scams, and they're very common. There's all these fake government agency tour places scattered all around the city, and other fake stores with extremely expensive products that only target foreigners. And a lot of the touts and the scouts on the streets will take you there because they get a commission if you buy things or if you use their service. So beware of that. And for a rule of thumb, if anybody approaches you trying to get you to go somewhere or sell you something, or someone talks to you when you didn't initiate first contact, be aware it's most likely a scam. So how do you get to the Taj Mahal? Well, I read a lot about it online. They recommend getting there from Delhi, and a lot of people recommend to take the local train to Taj Mahal, and they say it's about a 2-hour train ride. So I did some Googling. I was looking at the trains and the train stations, the train routes, and it's very complex. You have to go to the train station, you have to be able to read all of the different routes that they're saying, and the times and the stations and whatnot. And it did seem kind of a little bit complex. And then I followed up, I consulted with the concierge service at the Rose Yacht House, and really friendly, very helpful, and they recommended that I just take a private transportation because the train would be a little bit too complex for me and it might be too far or too long. So I went with private transportation from the Rose Yacht House's recommended third-party driver. I could have used the Rose Yacht House's personal driver, but it was about double the rate. They charged about 25,000 rupees, which is maybe like over $300 for there and back. But the third-party driver that is approved by them only costs 12,500 rupees, which is about $150 for there and back private transport. And that I thought was a good deal. The driver was very helpful. He was cool, friendly. And he had a friend who he just picked up on the way in Agra, who was a tour guide, and he was a really good tour guide. His name was Khan. I've heard a lot about the tour guide scams with fake cards and expired tag cards that are not real tour guides. This guy was good. His English was good, and he was cool. He seemed professional. I did enjoy his the information that he was giving. And then he had his guy who did the photo shoot, taking the photos that we snapped at the Taj Mahal, and they had their rates and whatnot, and it was cool. It was a good time. It was a good time. So you don't have to do a tour guide. You don't have to get taking photos of the Taj Mahal, but I would recommend go with private transport and consult with whatever hotel you're staying at. I would recommend one of the hotels in Aero City and consult with them to see who they recommend for private transport. So the food in India, how was the food? Well, first off, they don't eat meat. The cows are sacred in India, so they do not eat meat, but their substitute for meat is mutton or lamb, which is like goat. I think mutton, I believe, is like goat. But the mutton is tasty, the lamb is tasty, great substitutes for beef. And they have a lot of chicken, and they have fish and things like that. The food surprisingly was really good, but I was eating primarily food from the Rose Yacht House. Probably the best food I've ever eaten in my life. The breakfasts were amazing. The lunch was great, the dinner was great, and you have all the options of Aero City to go out for eat if you want. But the one thing I did notice about India is that their breakfast seemed to be huge. It's like their biggest meal of the day. Also, when I stayed at Hotel Surya International in Carol Bagh, also their breakfast was big there. So I think that it's common for in India, the breakfast seems to be the biggest meal of the day. What are some of my favorite dishes that I had from Indian food? Well, I really like the butter chicken and I really like the garlic naan. Super good, such a great combo. You gotta try it. And if you stay at the Rose Yacht House, you gotta get the shot of amla juice, gotta get a shot of aloe vera juice, get some of their fresh orange juice. They have a bunch of healing juices on their menu, and they also have the soup. I think it's called sambar with the idli, the dough that goes with it. Amazing. They have some bacon, some chicken sausage, some eggs, a bunch of fruit platters. Amazing, really good. So try a little bit of everything, see what you like. But the food was spectacular. So would I go back again? Absolutely. India was super cool. The energy was super vibrant. It was super alive. I've never been in a place like that before. It's very affordable if you want to be in that extreme backpacker mode. This is a country where you can do it. You can really let your money really get very far, and don't fall in for the scams. You got to haggle down for the prices. Don't let them take advantage of you. But you can really stretch your money very far in this country. Super cool country. I would definitely go back to visit. So what are some other interesting cities in India that you might want to check out? I have a list here from one of the tour guides that I didn't end up using because I think he was a scam. But these are all the cities that they had on their tour. I'm going to go ahead and read them here now. Rajasthan, Mandawa, Bikaner, Deshnuk, Jaisalmer, Curry, Jodhpur, Udaipur, Pushkar, Jaipur, Agra, Delhi, Kerala, Chandigarh, Shimla, Manali, Dharamshala, Amritsar, Kadila. I may or may not have mispronounced those, but that's the list there of other cities that you may want to check out surrounding Delhi. If you're interested in getting a SIM card there, I went with Airtel as my SIM card provider for my service. I didn't have any problems with it. Very simple to use. Airtel is what I went with. So what route did I take to fly into Delhi? Well, I was flying from Pittsburgh in the United States. So I chose American Airlines, and the route was Pittsburgh to JFK, and then JFK directly to Delhi, 15 and a half hours to Delhi from JFK, New York in the United States. And overall, it was a really good experience. I booked everything initially as an economy ticket, but then I upgraded to business class with a discount because it was a 15 and a half hour flight, and this was my first ever business class flight. And you know what, for that long flight, it really helped having that leg room and for you to lay down and relax if you wanted. When I entered, they had the mimosas waiting for me with American Airlines. My seat was in the third row. It was really cool. I've never ever done that before. So if you could, I recommend, if you're flying from a very long distance, try to get the business or first class just to try it out. But the trick is that you don't want to initially book it. You want to book first with economy and then see if you can get some kind of discount upgrade from your economy to business class. So that's the way how you got to do it. You don't want to just flat out buy business class because you're going to overpay. That's the trick. But flying home, I flew from Delhi to Brazil, and the route this time there were 2 stops. First, it was from Delhi to Doha, and that was with Indigo, and that happened to be a budget airline. It was about 4-hour flight from Delhi to Qatar. Then we had a 14 and a half hour flight from Doha, Qatar to Sao Paulo. That long flight, I just did economy, and that was my first time ever flying with Qatar Air. But Qatar ranked really high in the world for their airline service. Such an amazing airline. Even the economy was really cool. The food was great. I really enjoyed it, and surprisingly, it wasn't that bad, the 14-hour flight in an economy seat. So those are the routes that I took entering into India, and my recommendation is just do your research and try to fly with a good, respected airline so that you could have a good time and a convenient flight, especially if it's going to be a long one. So what are some of the next countries on my radar? Well, I'm really looking at going to Jordan next in the Middle East. And the reason is because I really want to go to Petra, the ancient city. It's about 3 hours from the capital Amman in Jordan. And right now, I really want to try to go to all 7 wonders of the world. I want to knock it out now while I have the time and the energy and the motivation to do it. So I'm really looking at Jordan next. What are some other countries that are on my radar? Well, possibly Israel and Lebanon if I do go to Jordan that are close by. And I'm really looking at traveling to Bangladesh, which is by India, and also potentially Vietnam in Southeast Asia. So those are the countries that are on my radar now that I think are really cool and interesting that I might be checking out soon. So stay tuned for more content from some new countries and my experiences and different reviews and foods and filming content. And if you haven't yet, smash the like button, subscribe to the channel. Please share the video. I hope that this was a good source of information and you guys enjoyed it. Overall, India was a super amazing country. I really enjoyed it there, and I can't wait to get back. Awesome, and I definitely recommend it. That you gotta check out India if you haven't yet. Amazing country. And the Rose Yacht House in Aero City, that is my pick for where I recommend to stay. That just put the icing on the cake and really made it an amazing experience. So that's it for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. Smash the like button. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you guys next time. Have a good one, and bye-bye.